This is the Rob and Steve Show, a CEO's perspective on the day-to-day topics that we live in our lives. And today we're going to break down the top 10 side hustles for 2025 with the caveat that these require $0 to start. That means that anybody can do these side hustles. So we've got this Forbes article we're going to run through that was written at the end of last year that breaks down the top 10 side hustles for 2025. And we're going to give you our collaborative pick for what the number one choice is for you to do in 2025. And we're going to agree on that one for number one. So you ready to go on this one?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll try to do it. I'm actually really curious how they even came up with this list in the first place, because some of these are a little weird. A couple I haven't even seen before. So
they're weird, but they are free.
Yeah,
they
that's
deliver
true.
on what they promise to people, that this is something that literally anyone can pick this up and do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm excited to go through the list.
Let's see if they're actually all free.
Okay.
We go through it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So why don't we start the first one? First side hustle for no money in 2025. Freelance services. So we're talking graphic design, social media management, things that I guess you have some expertise in that you can offer on Upwork, Fiverr, things like that.
Yeah. Do you have expertise, or do you go and get that expertise on the back end? I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have no experience that just want someone to handle the problem for them, where you could almost use AI to fill that service for them.
Right.
I mean, it's a very general term, but freelance services, I see how that works in 2025.
If you're not a graphic designer and you're offering graphic design services, I feel like that's going to be a problem. You're not going to be able to make money with that. It's competitive, right? Because we've all done the thing where you get a logo made or something like that. You get 50 people to go ahead and compete for it, and all you're doing is offering $50. So,
well, I think
your stuff might not be good.
But it's a key phrase for all the things that we'll talk about today.
Right.
All of these could be made very scalable. If you're a good marketer, if you're good at getting people and convincing them to do business with you, you could sell graphic design, never know how to do it, and on the back end of that, go to the gig economy and have someone else deliver on that work.
Right.
If you're confident you can sell the business and you can find someone to do it, they could be scalable, and that's where the freelance services, it used to be prior to AI, you kind of had to know how to do it yourself.
Right.
But in this day and age, you could do this business and have someone else do the work.
I can see it. I think I'll agree, though, that, look, freelance services, if you do know how to do something or you can produce something of value, this is something you can make money with in 2025.
Yeah. All right, the number two item with $0 that you can start as a side hustle in 2025, print-on-demand services.
Print-on-demand.
Most people know what print-on-demand is, but if you don't, it's you go out and you sell something that's been designed for a customer, and then you print it on a t-shirt or on a water bottle or on a Stanley, and then you send it to them, and it's print on demand. So you're literally buying the item after the customer has paid for a custom design. Have you heard of this before?
I've never heard of this term before. I know people who are getting into the t-shirt business. I guess my problem with this one is I've often seen people like that who they buy a bunch of equipment to be able to print on t-shirts, and they never thought about, how am I actually going to make money with this? How do I acquire customers?
Yes, but that was the old school days.
Okay.
See, the times have changed now. There are enough print-on-demand shops set up where I've seen technology built into Shopify.
Yeah.
And you have vendors like a 4imprint or a Custom Ink that you can connect your Etsy store or Shopify store to, so that when you sell something to someone, the person who actually is delivering on that is Custom Ink. But you sold them a t-shirt. So
I guess I'm
become
just
a
not
marketer,
sure.
almost an affiliate of sorts.
If I'm printing t-shirts for my business, how do I even find you?
Yeah, and that's the whole point. If you have any type of platform, or you wanted to go door to door and sell these services that you have, and they think you're this small business who's going to be hand embroidering stuff, again, you make it scalable by partnering with a big company that will do this for you, and you just become the marketing arm. And that's what makes it an interesting side hustle for 2025, because literally anyone can do this. You don't have to do the work and implement on the back end.
Yeah. So the world is changing, because I wouldn't even have thought of this as something that anybody could do. I would have thought you needed equipment, but okay. Yeah. Interesting. Number two. Number three, digital products and ebooks. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know have you bought an ebook in the last year?
I've never bought an ebook outside of what I read on Kindle.
Okay.
I've never bought an ebook.
Now, if I think about digital products, right, because I guess this can be like you're selling a course of something that you've developed a process on. You have some exposure to some of this.
Yeah,
so
I've got a course, but the course requires you to have a lot of knowledge. So
Yeah.
if you're someone who has something specific that you know how to do that others don't, and you put it into a digital format, I think it is a great side hustle to do, but the
Yeah.
whole course space is really scammy. I don't know if you want to be involved in that.
Yeah, and like an ebook as well. Like, what, you're gonna let people read 15 pages and then they have to pay $1 or $2 to learn
You better
what?
have some good information.
Like,
You
yeah,
can't just chat GPT that one.
this doesn't feel like a side hustle to me. This feels like something that like you need expertise in. You need to have information that is not readily available for free to other people.
Yeah.
And like you just said, ChatGPT, I'd rather go there than go read someone's ebook. Sorry.
Sure, but if you're someone who has figured out something difficult, like for instance, you and I figured out how to do an in-person podcast from 3,000 miles away, where we had it set up where it looked like we were
Yeah.
in the same room, but we were not in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to make a digital product and a course on how to do that so that anyone else could do it,
Yeah.
small audience of people looking for that information, but that could be a side hustle that brings in $10,000 in 2025. Like we could put that together.
I could see it.
Yeah.
That was a very
technical.
unique idea, though. I don't see a lot of people having ideas unique enough for that for their side hustle to actually make money with it. But I can see why it's on the list.
I come up with any number of ideas. How to change your oil when it's cold outside. Okay,
Yeah.
It could be something that small that you put a course together for. Get 3 people to buy it.
This will not be my number one choice, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
Mine
Yeah.
either. But just giving the alternative point of view, there's a lot of really niche things you can do. Okay, number
Yeah.
4. The number 4 thing you can do with zero money in 2025 as a side hustle is affiliate marketing. And this is predicated on you having a platform to affiliate, to influence someone to buy something. I personally think this is super saturated
Yeah.
and probably not a great way for you to spend your time unless you already have the platform. And if you do, here's some advice. Maybe don't represent 10,000 products. Maybe pick one and post on that same one 20 times
Yeah.
and partner with
Get
that
traction
brand.
on it.
That still works. But
Yeah.
this whole, like, I'm going to do one skincare line today, another skincare line tomorrow, that doesn't work anymore because, like, well, which one do you use? You can't
Yeah.
rep 20 different skincare brands.
This is a stupid one. It shouldn't even be on this list. This was supposed to be a side hustle that anybody can do for no money. You need to have a huge audience to do affiliate marketing.
It depends on how much money you're trying to make in your side hustle. If the goal is to make $100 a month,
Yeah.
you could probably get grandma and grandpa to buy the thing and maybe you get yourself there.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking to be scalable,
I wouldn't even call it
Yeah.
a side hustle because you have to have a certain level of followership to actually make any money with affiliate marketing to even approach me to be able to market my product or for me to approach you. I'm going there because I think your followership actually will bring more money to my business. So I don't see this as something that everybody can actually do.
yeah, but it is free. So
It is free. There we go. Number five, drop shipping. Partner with suppliers to sell products online without inventory. I wouldn't have thought of this one either. But again, this is actually very much in your space in the e-commerce field. So
it is. And
are people making money?
it is about as scammy as they come,
Okay.
by and large. 90% of the time, someone says they're in drop shipping.
Yeah.
They're probably also selling a course on how to do drop shipping.
Yeah.
There were some people who were wildly successful on this prior to 2016, where they partnered with companies in China and they were just drop shipping. You'd sell the service here to someone, probably have a Shopify store set up, and then they would buy it and you'd ship it to them in 3 or 4 days using DHL from
Yeah,
China.
okay.
And it would come in.
Yeah.
And it's a fine business, but everybody can't do it. And
No.
now it's become so commoditized. Now, I will say, if you have something special and a niche where you can drop ship,
Yeah.
you can still get fast shipping on it, and you can get super low pricing and maybe turn it into a membership site. I thought about doing that a few months ago and actually put a business plan together to make it happen and really built it up.
Yeah.
We didn't move forward with it, but dropshipping businesses can be built very quickly.
Okay.
And again, you don't have
Yeah.
to have any inventory. So you
But if it was
only-
special, why wouldn't they just go direct to consumer?
if they can go and find that person
Yeah.
themselves, they would. That's
So
where the dropshipping model
supposedly
falls
you can
apart.
find them better than they can,
Yes.
but you don't have a product.
Well, because it used to be I go on Alibaba, I can
Yeah.
buy it for $3 here, sell it to a
Right.
customer for $12.
Okay,
When the customer
yeah.
knows they can go to Alibaba and get it themselves,
Yeah.
then it breaks down the business model. So it is definitely
Okay.
a side hustle,
Yeah.
and you can make it scalable, but it never has staying power. No drop shipper has
Yeah.
staying power. It's like hit it, quit it, make some cash, and run out of there.
Are you guys seeing the trend with this list? These are pretty difficult to make work so far. Just my 2 cents.
All right, that's number 5. Look, if you're enjoying this style of content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Rob and Steve Show channel, because we're going to do a lot more stuff just like this. All right, number 6, jumping right into number 6. The number 6 way to make money in 2025 in a side hustle without having to have any cash. Content creation. This is near
We know a little about this.
We're doing this right now.
We know a little bit about
content.
it.
Now, are we using it as a side hustle to make money? No.
Yeah.
We like making entertaining content.
Yeah.
We're building a platform for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of other things in different podcasts and other shows too. But the whole content creation model, if you wanted to monetize it in 2025, do you think that people can be monetizing it quickly enough to call it a side hustle?
Look, because we're in this space and because we're enjoying this, we're playing around with it on multiple platforms. This is not a side hustle. How are you actually going to make money from your content in the first 6 months of doing it? I'm not seeing that. And I see plenty of people who are selling you on why you should be able to make money. And mostly they're just trying to get people to click on my videos and buy my course. It's another scammy one.
Alternative point of view. Is it possible that we're not making good content, so we don't get to monetize our YouTube channel fast enough yet? Because if you get to 500 subscribers and a certain amount of watch time, like you can add memberships and subscriptions and products.
Yeah, but like the way that people make money on content creation, ad spend is one, but from what I've seen, that's like a very small subset of what you're actually going to be making money on. Usually it's, how is content creation furthering your business? Are you selling a course? Are you trying to obtain customers and add to your services business somehow, some way with your content? If you can make ad revenue off of it, great. I just think that's a really uphill climb. To be able to get there. And I haven't seen a lot of channels. You'll see scammy videos that are like, I got to, monetized in 4 weeks. Okay, well. They must be better at it than we are.
Say that they've gone from 0 to 500,000 subscribers in a month. They can tell you how to do it again. I'm not good at it yet. I'm a novice. And for anyone who's watching this who wants to jump in as a side hustle, you're probably a novice too.
But the other thing is this. We know how much money it costs to get into content creation. The equipment you need, if you want to have a decent production, like the tools that you need, the editing, the time that goes into it. I just wouldn't really be focused on how am I going to make more money in the next 6 months? Content's not where I would go with it. Now, number 7, this is an interesting one. Tutoring and coaching services. So again, this is something that if you have some expertise in something, how do you then offer those skills to be able to help someone who is more basic or further behind in those skills to move forward? That's an interesting one.
It is. If you don't have great expertise, we call it tutoring and coaching. If you have great expertise, we call it consulting.
Sure.
It's the same thing. Like, you know something, they don't know how to do it. They want to get from A to B. You get them there super fast. So consulting, you charge a lot more for it. Tutoring, I'll help you do your algebra homework. Anyone could do that. And you could use ChatGPT for that too, to help you out, to learn yourself and then help someone learn the same thing. That's not that difficult.
I do feel like this is one that everybody could do. No matter where you're at with any topic, there's someone who is more stupid than you in that topic.
It's true.
And that person may be willing to separate themselves from a few dollars to learn the insights that you have.
There's plenty of parents who are out there who just want their kids to get faster where they're going. And if you're talking about just high school or middle school, tutoring is a big deal. Anyone can do that. So it's not a terrible one. I like it better if you have more skill set or you're consulting. Now it's a much better side hustle that can make you money. But number eight side hustle for 2025 that doesn't require any money at all: pet sitting and dog walking.
I like this one.
Pet sitting and dog walking. Why do you like it?
I like it because literally anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. There's no qualifications except for just being a stand-up person that people aren't afraid to give you the code to their house to walk in. But the amount of money I know people are willing to pay to make sure that their pet is comfortable in the hours that they're not at the house. And all you have to do is just know people. You can go to a dog park. You can go to a dog bar and just talk to people and tell them this is what you're doing. They may need that service. This is, to me, this is the lowest barrier of entry from what I've heard. When the article said anybody can do this and it doesn't cost any money to do it, this is one that you can just walk into tomorrow, be in the right place, and start making some cash.
That's true. Nothing to add on that except if you're doing dog walking, also bring my garbage cans in and out, and I'd pay you even more for that too.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can have some add-ons to this service. Once you're walking dogs, you can even turn that into, hey, maybe I'll board your dog for you, or I'll house sit for you while you're gone and take care of your pet. We have pets. That's a hard thing to figure out sometimes when you're going to be traveling is, where's the dog going to go?
Yeah.
Who's taking care of the dog? If you're walking my dog, you're the first person on my list, and I would pay a lot more for that than just the walking service.
yeah, it could be big. What's number 9?
Yeah. Number 9, flipping free items. Find items on Facebook Marketplace and go sell them somewhere else. I know a couple people who do this, actually have whole businesses around either free items or close to free items, where they'll go to yard sales, tag sales, garage sales, whatever, and try to find stuff that people might want. I don't think it scales though.
It's hard. It's hard work. But if you just a cash grab, look, I'm the guy giving this free stuff away. So we put a couch on OfferUp because like I don't want to make any money off of it. I just want you to get the shit out of my house
Get it
so
out.
that I can get the new one in.
Yeah.
And if you go on OfferUp and you put up an item for free, especially a couch or a bed or anything,
Yeah.
your phone, if you don't put it on Do Not Disturb, will nonstop with people like, can I pick it up? I'll come pick it up right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, it's 10:30 at night. Like, I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
But there's a huge number of people already doing this side hustle. That's why I say if you want to flip free stuff, you better have a really advantageous way of going about it because you're competing. If you're trying to flip couches, that one is saturated, my friend.
I feel like the people I know have a system. These are the kinds of items that I look for, and I know the value of them, and I know how to sell these again.
Yeah.
And they just stay in their lane with trading cards, whatever, like something that you know and you know the value of, and say, hey, I can move these.
Yeah,
I can move these.
All right, finally, last but not least, the number 10 side hustle for 2025 that requires $0 to start, the virtual event planning.
Okay.
And this could be anything from a golf trip for someone to a vacation for someone where you're just doing all the groundwork that they don't want to do.
Okay.
People don't like planning. They like to just enjoy themselves. Now,
Sure.
I will say, if you're planning my vacation and you mess up on it, I've got a very high bar for that. I'm bringing my kids and my wife with me.
Yeah.
Be prepared to assist while we're on the vacation too, to make it all flow. It seems very time consuming to me.
But you wouldn't, like, let's say you're at the grocery store and someone's checking you out for your groceries and they say, oh, I also do event planning. Let me plan your vacation for you. You would never hire that person.
No, I would not.
If I'm going to have
you as the grocery store clerk, you have to call me as the event planner.
Don't even call me, because why would the event? I'm going to go find you when I want the help. If I'm looking to book a trip, I'm going to go find a travel agent to book that trip. I want a professional, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
If I'm going to have an event, if I'm planning a first birthday party for our son that's coming up, I want a real event planner, someone who's doing this full time, a professional. I don't want just some random person who's like, oh, I can do that for you.
But if you don't know the person's not a professional, meaning that if they make it a side hustle and you make a landing page and you've got a decent looking website that positions you as an event planner,
Sure.
I don't know if you are or not.
Well, you just spent money on that website, and I don't know if it's going to work for you or not.
Yeah.
So I
It's
wouldn't
not
waste
free
your money
anymore.
on this
Not
side
free
hustle in
anymore.
2025. It is not free. I don't know how you sell this to people. And quite frankly, anything you're doing in this space, there are professionals who do it and they do it well.
Yeah.
They might be more expensive than you, but don't think that just because you're going to do it cheaper, that people are going to sign up for it.
True, and it's a fair point. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the number one side hustle? We put our brains together on this. Looking at this list,
Yeah.
there's a few that I like, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on what your top one is based
Yeah.
on this list of 10 items from the Forbes article.
I'm between a couple, but if I had to pick one, I'm going with pet sitting. For the reason that I laid out, anybody can actually get into this, and you just have to show up in the places where there's people who have pets. And if you're a pet lover, nobody has a problem if you're just, petting their dog, talking to them, having a conversation, and then you can offer that you run these services. It's the barrier of entry is so low, and it's decent pay. I think this
Yeah.
is a good one.
Interesting. I disagree. Maybe we won't come up with one. I'm going to go in a different direction and a little left hook this because I talked about drop shipping being scammy. I actually do think drop shipping is the number one opportunity
Number
for
one.
2025. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because the skill set of drop shipping used to be just grabbing items and then throwing them online and people would buy them randomly. But if you make the process of planning and preparation and looking for niche items that people have a hard time finding, there are so many companies out there that have a great product that don't know how to do the marketing. They maybe only
Okay.
sell wholesale.
Yeah.
But you go and get an arrangement with them to kind of form a pseudo direct to consumer where you have this landing page that you made that you learned how to do on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And then you position their products where you've built in margin for yourself. And when an order comes in, you go let them know. What I like about it is that your only cost up front is the knowledge to go build the landing page. There's free sites to host the landing page, to build a landing page. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's a skill set that once you find that and you can build it one time, let's say that it's not going to last forever. We talked about drop shipping is kind of transactional, but you know how to do that time and time again. So you've got a skill set then that gives you a side hustle to go on in perpetuity. It's one that you can lean into and you can get so lethal at it. And that's my big point.
But I feel like you only feel that way about it because you know and understand the e-commerce space.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about just the average person who's trying to make a few extra bucks this year.
7 years ago, I knew nothing.
You don't know
about
shit about
e-commerce.
drop shipping.
Most people that are involved in any of these side hustles that are decent at it knew nothing about it a few years ago. And that's my main point here. If you look at this overall holistically, and I'll stick to my guns on the whole drop shipping one, I think there's just nothing on this list that you can't learn on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
There's some facts here. If you read one book about a topic, you know more than 70% of the population about that topic. You read 3 books about a topic, you know more than 98% of the population
98%
about that topic.
Where are we getting these numbers from?
From social media reel. So you know that it's real if I got it from a reel.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's what real means,
Excellent.
right?
Yeah.
Okay? So if that's the case, nobody reads anymore.
Right.
If you're just going off what you see on ChatGPT, you can get yourself started, but go the next level. Read a book on that topic, lean into it.
Yeah.
Because the people who are going to be transactional in their side hustles, that side hustle is never going to get you anywhere. If you want your side hustle to turn into a business, that means that you're someone who's serious about quitting your 9 to 5 and going full time with your side hustle. I would encourage you to read about that topic, learn about that industry, and find an innovative way that you can do it that's harder than what everyone else is willing to do. You'll separate yourself and you'll give yourself an opportunity to grow a business.
You're thinking differently about a side hustle than how most people think about side hustles. The people I know who need a side hustle are people who are broke, right? They need to make extra money now. If I have to go read 3 books and then go get good at something in order for that side hustle to turn into something that makes money, that's not a side hustle. That's why I was so surprised by this list. A side hustle to me is, what can I start doing tomorrow to make extra money? Because I need money to make ends meet, right? That's why I'm so interested in the pet sitting side. I didn't see on here Uber or Turo or other things that literally have no bar. You can just show up tomorrow and start earning money.
You just have to have a car. Okay, which is like $5,000 minimum to come into that. You know,
I'm assuming
you can't put a hoopty on Turo.
Right. I'm assuming that even broke people, as you well know, have a car. Right. It's but these, most of these, like what I'm looking at, content creation, drop shipping, digital products, like these are going to take time to scale up. I can see all of these if you committed to it and you said, hey, I'm going to put in 2, 3, 6 months to this, and maybe a little bit of investment too. I think all of these could be accelerated with some investment. Now you have I'm going to call that like a side business, right? Not just a side hustle. The side hustle to me though is like, no, tomorrow I need to make more money. What am I going to start doing?
Yeah, the definitions matter. Also, our perspective matters because you've got 2 CEOs that are sitting here that have made money who are thinking, I can't get my mind out of how you build these into $1 million businesses. I'm not so much thinking about, I need cash tomorrow. So it depends on where you're at with that.
That's true.
This is a great list. Forbes did a good job putting it together, in my opinion. But I look always to the future to say, okay, how do you make $1 million doing this? You got to lean in. You got to get good at it. Get lethal at it.
We're looking at it totally differently because you're not going to make $1 million with pet sitting. You might get other pet sitters to come join your team, and now you can turn that into $1 million and have a platform that people can sign up on. Okay, go that direction with it. But if you need to make $500 in the next month, go to a dog park and start talking to people about, hey, can I walk your dog for $10 a day?
I agree. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, let us know in the comments which one of these you think is the best for 2025. I want to know your opinion on that. And thanks for joining us for episode 1 of the Rob and Steve Show.